I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I just pressed play and watched their faces change. That's how it ended. Me, standing in my own living room with a remote in my hand, proof on the screen that I wasn't crazy. Proof that every sideways glance, every late night, every little whisper I'd ignored had been real all along. My name's Erin. I'm 27. And this is the story of how I lost not just a boyfriend, but my best friend. And with her, the very idea of home. For 3 years, Alex was my partner. Dependable, steady, the kind of man who wasn't flashy but made you feel safe. And Chloe? She'd been my best friend since high school, the girl who slipped me notes in class, showed up with ice cream after breakups, and swore we'd always protect each other no matter what. Alex was the man I thought I'd build a future with. Chloe was the sister I never had. Together, they were the two people I trusted more than anyone in the world. That's why, when Chloe showed up on my doorstep with boxes after a bad breakup, asking if she could crash with us, I didn't hesitate. Of course she could. That's what loyalty looks like. I thought I was helping her get back on her feet. I thought I was proving what kind of friend I was. And in the beginning, it felt right. 3 people under one roof, laughter in the kitchen, the comfort of familiarity. But what I didn't know then was that by opening the door to my apartment, I was opening the door to my own undoing. Because Chloe didn't just move into my space, she moved into my life. And into Alex's arms. If you'd asked me why I trusted Chloe so completely, I could give you 100 reasons. We met when we were 15. 2 awkward girls navigating high school hallways, promising to have each other's backs no matter what. She was the friend who showed up with ice cream after my first heartbreak, who held my hair back on nights we swore we'd never drink again, who kept my secrets like they were her own. Chloe wasn't just a friend. She was family. And Alex, he came into my life later, but he felt just as solid. He wasn't the type to sweep me off my feet with grand gestures. He was the type to keep his word, to show up early instead of late, to make me feel safe after years of dating men who thrived on chaos. He wanted what I wanted, a home, a future, something steady. With him, I felt grounded. With Chloe, I felt understood. Together, the 3 of us made sense. So when she moved in, I didn't worry. In fact, I almost felt relieved. I thought it would be good for all of us. Built-in company, shared laughter, less pressure on me to balance the 2 people I cared about most. For a while, it even felt like a little family. But looking back, the warning signs were already there. The way Chloe teased Alex about his terrible cooking and how easily he laughed at her jokes. The way their banter sometimes left me feeling like the third wheel in my own living room. Back then, I told myself it was harmless. Just 2 people I loved getting along. But now I see those were the first shadows creeping in. The first cracks didn't come as explosions. They came as whispers. Sometimes I'd head to bed early, exhausted from work, only to hear Chloe and Alex still awake in the living room. Low voices, bursts of laughter, the shuffle of cards, or the tinny sound of a YouTube video playing. I'd lie there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, telling myself it was normal. Roommates hang out, friends bond. If anything, I should be happy they got along. But part of me felt like an outsider in my own home. Then came the Instagram story. One night, Alex texted me, "Working late, don't wait up." I believed him, like I always did. Hours later, I scrolled through Instagram and saw Chloe's story. Just a quick clip in our kitchen, music playing, her laughing into the camera. But in the background, blurry though it was, there he stood. Alex, pulling a glass from the cupboard. My chest tightened. Not because of what it proved, but because of what it suggested, that my trust in him had blind spots big enough to swallow me whole. The next morning, I asked Chloe casually about it. She didn't even blink. "Oh, that? He just stopped in for water. You're being dramatic." She laughed like it was a silly misunderstanding. The ease with which she brushed it off made me doubt myself. But then came the scarf. I slid into Alex's car one afternoon and spotted it on the passenger seat. Deep burgundy, Chloe's favorite. "Whose is this?" I asked, my voice sharper than I intended. "Oh, Chloe's," he said smoothly. I gave her a ride. She must have left it. Simple, clean, but too clean. Why hadn't either of them mentioned it? And why was it folded so neatly where I usually sat? Later that night, I brought it up again, hoping Chloe would ease my mind. Instead, she laughed, tossed her hair back. "Oh my God, Aaron, you're so insecure. It's cute." Cute. Like my doubt was a joke. Like my pain was entertainment. I forced a smile, but inside, I was unraveling. Because that was the moment I realized I wasn't just questioning them. I was starting to question myself. That scarf should have been enough. The Instagram clip should have been enough. But instead of clarity, all I got were rehearsed smiles and easy dismissals. Whenever I pushed Alex, his tone turned careful, almost patronizing. "You're being paranoid. You're too emotional lately. This isn't healthy, Aaron." The words landed like labels. Paranoid, emotional, unhealthy, until I started wondering if maybe he was right. Chloe played her part differently. She didn't accuse me outright. She laughed, tossed her hair, teased. "Oh my God, Aaron, you're so dramatic." Sometimes she even added, "It's cute," as if my suspicion was just a quirky trait she could joke about. And when my best friend called me insecure with a smile, it made me feel like the punchline in my own home. Even my friends didn't take me seriously. When I confided in one, she shrugged. "That's just Chloe. She's always been flirty. Don't read into it." Another changed the subject entirely, like they didn't want to be dragged into my paranoia. The silence stung worse than their words. So there I was, isolated, outnumbered, and exhausted from constantly questioning my own reality. One night, after another round of "you're overreacting," I broke. I apologized to both of them. "I'm sorry," I whispered, cheeks burning. "I've been stressed. I shouldn't have accused you." They smiled, so forgiving it almost looked practiced. And in that moment, I felt insane. But a part of me still needed answers. If I couldn't trust my memory, maybe I could trust the facts. That's when I started journaling. Every time Alex claimed to be working late, I wrote it down. Every time Chloe swore she was at a study group or sleeping at a friend's, I logged it too. At first, it felt obsessive, but soon the patterns emerged. Her study nights always overlapping with his client dinners. Her sudden plans landing on the exact nights he came home hours late. One or two coincidences I could excuse. But this was choreography. And staring at those overlapping lines, I realized I might not be paranoid after all. I might just be late to the truth. Sometimes the universe doesn't whisper. It slaps you across the face. Mine came at the grocery store. I was standing in line when I heard my name. Emily, a woman from our wider circle, smiled and asked, "So, how was last week? At the jazz bar? You looked like you guys were having a great time." I froze. "What bar?" "You know, the one downtown. I saw Alex and Chloe there. They looked cozy. I figured you were with them." I forced a laugh, muttered something vague, but my chest was pounding so hard I thought my ribs might crack. The second I got home, I opened Chloe's Instagram. Sure enough, her story from that night was still up. Dim lights, cocktails, music in the background. At first it looked harmless, but then I saw it. In the mirror behind her, a reflection. A man's wrist, a leather watch band. Alex's watch, the one I gave him for Christmas. I replayed the clip again and again until I wanted to smash my phone. It wasn't just suspicion anymore. It was proof. But I wasn't done. I pulled out Alex's credit card statements. Line by line, the charges matched Chloe's posts. The jazz bar, same night. An Italian restaurant she tagged, same week she claimed to be studying late. Even a cafe charge in the middle of the day matched her latte post. And then came the smoking gun. Tucked between the mail was a folded hotel receipt. One night stay, King Suite. Alex's name in bold. The date? 2 weeks earlier. My hands shook as I scrolled Chloe's feed. There it was. A mirror selfie. Tousled hair, red lips, bathroom counter behind her. I hadn't thought twice when I first saw it. But now, side by side with the receipt, the truth screamed at me. The tiles, the gold-framed mirror, the marble sink, the same room. This wasn't a slip. It wasn't a drunken mistake. It was deliberate, planned, paid for. And sitting on my couch with the receipt crumpled in my fist, I realized betrayal doesn't just happen in a moment of weakness. Sometimes it's premeditated. And that kind of betrayal doesn't just break your heart. It breaks your reality. By then, I had receipts, screenshots, even a hotel bill with his name printed in bold. But liars are slippery. They twist, they deflect, they make you doubt what's staring you in the face. I needed something they couldn't wriggle out of. So I installed cameras, one in the living room angled just right. They never noticed. Maybe guilt makes you blind. It didn't take long. Within days, the footage piled up. Chloe sliding too close on the couch. Alex not moving away. Her wearing my robe, curling against him like she owned the space. And then, the kiss. His hand on her thigh, their laughter colliding with mine, echoing faintly in memory. My living room, my couch, my life hijacked in pixels. That's when I stopped waiting for them to confess. I decided to make them face it. I invited them both to dinner, cooked a meal, poured the wine, smiled like everything was normal. And then, as plates clinked and glasses emptied, I said calmly, "There's something I want to show you." I opened my laptop, hit play, the room filled with their laughter, caught on camera, Chloe in my robe, Alex leaning in, their lips colliding. At first, silence. Chloe's fork clattered onto her plate. Alex's face drained. Then the scramble began. "It's not what it looks like," Chloe stammered. "It happened once," Alex blurted, voice low. "We didn't want to hurt you." "Once?" I snapped. "In my robe? On my couch?" Their excuses died as more clips rolled, touches, whispers, stolen looks. They had nothing left to say. Finally, Alex exhaled, shoulders sagging. "Fine. We started hooking up weeks after she moved in. We didn't think you'd notice." Didn't think I'd notice. Like I was some background extra in my own life. And Chloe, with a steady voice that cut deeper than anything, whispered, "You were always so busy. I thought you'd be fine if I filled the gaps." That was the knife, the twist I'll never forget. Because betrayal isn't just what they did. It's how easily they justified it. The night I pressed play was the last night they ever sat across from me. The next morning, I didn't scream. I didn't demand apologies. I didn't give them a chance to spin new lies. I packed Chloe's things into garbage bags, set them by the door, and texted her 2 words. "Come get them." Alex tried to argue. He stood in the kitchen, arms crossed, like he still had some claim to the life we'd built. "We can work this out," he said, his voice low, almost convincing, if I hadn't already seen the footage. "But some things don't get worked out. Some things get evicted." "You don't live here anymore," I told him flatly. "Neither of you do." That same day, I blocked them both. Phones, socials, emails, no drawn-out closure, no late-night texts to lure me back into their chaos. Just silence, the kind that protects instead of punishes. Then I started over. I signed a lease on a new apartment. Smaller, quieter, but mine. My keys, my locks, my rules, nobody else's shadows lurking in the corners. Therapy helped me unpack not just what they did, but what I let myself believe. How I doubted my instincts because the 2 people I trusted most told me I was crazy. How I apologized for wounds I didn't even cause. Piece by piece, I built myself back. A solo trip, new furniture, days where I didn't flinch at the silence. Because here's the truth. She didn't just move into my space. She moved into my life and tried to take it. He wasn't just unfaithful. He made me feel insane for being right. But I didn't lose them. I evicted them. From my home. From my heart.